Good evening. My name is Kendall, and I'm President Pro Tem. I'm filling in for Mrs. Baker tonight, who's unable to be here. Mr. Heath, you have the prayer tonight?
Sure.
Okay. So we'll start off with the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Brock Heath. Please rise.
Let's go to pray. God, we just appreciate this time together that we've got to deliberate over the future of our city. God, thank you for all the blessings and favors you're putting on to our lives and to Troy. God, we appreciate you watching over those warriors that are overseas, kicking some butt for us. God, watch over them and help them destroy the enemy. God, and bring them back home safe. God, thank you for watching over the firefighters and the police here doing the same thing in Troy. In your name, in your son's name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Heath. Mrs. Knight, will you please call roll?
Mr. Heath?
Here.
Mr. Twist?
Here.
Mrs. Sneed?
Here.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Here.
Mr. Kendall?
Here.
Mr. Swayzer?
Here.
Mrs. Oda?
Here.
Mr. Tremblay?
Here.
Mr. Phillips?
Move to excuse Mr. Phillips.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion to excuse Mr. Phillips by Mr. Swayzer with a second by Mr. Twist. Please call the roll.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Sneed?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swayzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Phillips is excused.
All right, thank you. Mrs. Knight, will you please read the summary of minutes for May 16, 2016 meeting?
Minutes of Council, May 16, 2016. Public hearings were held on ordinance number 028, 2016 and 029, 2016. Both are rezonings. Committee reports on ordinance reported with an oral report regarding a liquor license permit for La Fiesta, 1133 West Main. Recreation and Parks Committee. Mr. Heath reported that a local group of recreational organizations requested council to place a 10-year capital improvement tax levy on the November 8th ballot, and committee recommended that legislation be prepared to place that item on the ballot. Streets and Sidewalks Committee recommended legislation be prepared accepting dedication of right-of-way along the east side of the 1200 block of Union Street and dedication of right-of-way along the north side of the 600 block of East Staunton Road. Ordinance number 028, 2016, a rezoning was given public hearing and second reading. Ordinance number 029, 2016, a rezoning was given public hearing and second reading. Ordinance number 030, 2016, dedicating right-of-way, first reading. Ordinance number 031, 2016, dedication of right-of-way, first reading. Ordinance number 032, 2016, placing levy for parks and recreation purposes on the ballot was given first reading. Following comments, council adjourned at 7:25 p.m.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes as read.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Tremblay to approve the minutes with a second by Mr. Heath. Mrs. Knight, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Sneed?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swayzer?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Okay, Mrs. Knight, would you please read the minutes of the special meeting on May 23rd, 2016?
Minutes of council special meeting, May 23, 2016. The notice of special meeting was read, stating that the meeting was called to consider R28, 2016, Ordinance 028, 029, 030, and 031, 2016. Finance Committee recommended legislation be prepared authorizing city to participate in the Ohio Department of Transportation purchase of road salt. Law and Ordinance Committee reported that committee recommended 028, 2016 rezoning of part of in-lot 39 be approved, that ordinance number 029, 2016 rezoning of part of in-lot 8661 be approved, and also there was an oral report of notice of liquor license application for permit for Smith's Boathouse. Resolution number R27, 2016, participation in ODOT winter contract for road salt, first reading and adopted. Ordinance number O29, 2016, rezoning of part of in-lot 39 was given third reading and was adopted. Ordinance O29, 2016, rezoning of in-lot 861, third reading and adopted. Ordinance number O30, 2016, dedication of right-of-way, second reading and adopted. Ordinance O31, 2016, dedication of right-of-way, second reading and adopted. Council adjourned, 7:56 p.m.
Okay, are there any additions or corrections to these minutes?
Move to accept the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we've got motion made by Mr. Swazer with a second by Mr. Twist to approve the minutes. Mrs. Knight, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Terwilliger.
Yes.
Mr. Kendall.
Yes.
Mr. Swazer.
Yes.
Mrs. Oda.
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay.
Yes.
Mr. Heath.
Yes.
Mr. Twist.
Yes.
Mrs. Snead.
Yes.
Minutes are approved.
Okay, thank you. Now we move to the portion of our meeting where we have citizen comments on committee reports or agenda items for tonight's meeting, and comments are limited to 2 minutes.
Committee reports.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. So we do committee reports, and we do have one from the finance, and I'll ask Mr. Swazer if you would read that, please.
Yes, I would. There's one report from Finance Committee. Committee members Schweizer and Kendall met on May 17th to review the Ohio Revised Code requirement of obtaining proposals every 5 years from financial institutions for the deposit of public funds. The current depository agreements expire in August. We concur with the recommendation of the Auditor's Office and ask that legislation be prepared estimating the aggregate maximum amount of public funds to be awarded as deposits as follows. Inactive deposits, $1,000. Active deposits, $10 million. And interim deposits of $50 million. This will provide the basis for the auditor requesting proposals for the deposit of public funds. Once that process is completed, the auditor will provide council with a recommendation to award the deposits. And this is respectfully submitted by Doug Tremblay, myself, John Schweizer, and Mr. Kendall, Chairman.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Swazer. Are there any questions on this?
I do, Mr. Chair. Could you explain this? This is a lot of legal mumbo jumbo and kind of goes over some of our heads. Would you, I don't know if it's Mr. Frigge or Patrick, if you would kind of explain how this works or what's happening.
Mr. Frege, would you please do that?
Yes. This is a requirement from the state. We have on deposit several $1 million at any one time. Any bank that has deposits with an entity like ours, a public entity, has to have specific reserves in there that they cannot lend or use in any other way to make sure that they have our funds insured as fully as possible. That's what this will take care of at this point in time. Any entity that says they want to be a depository for us, we can deposit with them at any point in time, as long as it's prudent for us. And then they will have that much on reserves as collateral for our deposits.
Are these local banks?
Oh, absolutely, yes. There are no outside banks included.
So can you explain the inactive, active, and interim deposits?
The inactive is just an account that maybe we used to use at one point in time. We've taken it down to a balance that will keep it open without a fee of any sort. That's what the $1,000 is. The $10 million is the working type account, and from time to time, we may have, sometimes when we do a large bond like we did for the Hobart Arena, we might have more than $10 million on deposit for a short period until those funds are paid off. That's where the $50 million comes in as interim deposits.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Now we go to citizen comments on the committee reports or agenda items, and comments are limited to 2 minutes, and our law director will be our timekeeper for this. Please come to the microphone and state your name and address.
Good evening. Wade Westfall, 2570 Troy Sidney Road, Troy, Ohio. I come here in support tonight the City Council to give the citizens an opportunity to put the levy on the ballot for the expansion of Duke Park, the needed renovation at the golf course, and repairs to our senior center. I am here tonight wearing multiple hats. Hat number 1 is president of Midwest High Baseball League. Midwest High Baseball League is a select baseball program with over a 30-year history, consisting of over 275 teams throughout the Miami Valley and eastern Indiana. Ages 8 to 18. This organization consists of 3,500 children, 1,000 coaches, nearly 7,000 parents, and hundreds of umpires. We play over 9,000 games annually. The building of these fields will not affect our organization. This organization is here to support the potential opportunities that this complex would have for our local program and communities, local program and community in holding large regional and national tournaments if so desired. The potential economic impact to the area would be substantial. Hat number 2. As a member of the executive committee of the Miracle League of Miami Valley, a handicap accessible field would give those children and adults who are dealing with disabilities a place to play. This will have a positive impact for all families no matter what the capabilities may be. And I also believe it speaks volumes of who we are as a community. Hat number 3. As a multiple property owner throughout Troy, Miami County, and a downtown Troy developer, I see this potential expansion of our park system in conjunction with the present expansion of Hobart Arena, Treasure Island, as an enhancement to my wife and I's investment in our downtown and our community. Of course, it is never easy to absorb additional costs, but I believe the benefits far outweigh the cost. And number 4, as a coach, mentor, father, and now a new grandfather, I believe it's also an opportunity to invest in our current and future generations. As a former public official, I've been a part of building a juvenile detention and rehab facility here in our county. I believe, or at least hope, that the more parks we build, the more ball fields we build, maybe less youth prisons we maybe need in the future. I ask each and every one of you to look at what the city of Troy has to offer. I believe that Troy and Miami County is the greatest community to live in, to work in, and to play in. And I contribute that to not only its citizens, but also the leadership seated here tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Westphal. Your time is up.
Thank you.
Rory Hoke, 1344 Essex Court, Troy, Ohio. I am here to support, as a board member of the Troy Junior Trojans, I'm here to support the Operation Recreation Committee, or levy. And this is kind of personal for me. I can remember as a kid playing against Mr. Friggy's teams and his son. And we would get our seasons flooded out occasionally due to the location of the current fields. Now that I'm a father and I'm a coach of my son's team, last year he was pretty excited about playing in his first tournament, and that was flooded out as well. So it's kind of been an ongoing issue for the last 30-plus years. So I just wanted to offer my voice support for the levy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mick Burning, 878 Crossbow, Troy, Ohio. I grew up in Fort Laramie, so coming to Troy, I've lived here for about 10 years now. Coming from a small community, loved coming to Troy. It was something new, something different. I also just want to say I definitely support the levy for the improvements of the fields and everything else. It's quite an honor to coach baseball throughout the years. And watch my kids grow and little kids come up and just become great baseball players in the city of Troy. Thanks.
Thank you.
Dr. Connor, 1210 South Clay Street. Well, I wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to let it ride. But since so many people are getting up here in favor of it, I am still against it. I think a lot of the citizens of Troy are against it. The Miami Shores, I said a year ago that golf isn't a thing anymore. It's kayaks and canoes. And even the Troy Country Club is eliminating their initiation fee because their enrollment in golf is down. And we spent $140,000 on carts out there just last year. And, and we've been subsidizing it. That's the trouble. We've been subsidizing it. And building a new, it's just a waste of good money. So, I understand the people with the kids, and I understand that. But then next year, with the school wanting to put another levy on, it's just going to zap the citizens of Troy dry. I mean, we can't afford much more. We're getting desperate out here. It's sad, but we're getting desperate. I mean, we didn't even get an increase on Social Security. That's 3 years out of 7. I mean, my utilities for stormwater, for the water and sewer, I was paying $13 a month. Now I'm paying $37.46 a month. Tripled. We just can't afford it out here. I mean, the poor people and the senior citizens, and then the senior citizens, $100,000 for them, I think that was thrown on there to try to get the old people's votes on this issue. I mean, it's sad. I mean, you're all playing games with the citizens of Troy and their money. You're not doing anything for the citizens of Troy. You're doing it only for the city of Troy. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Mrs. Knight, will you please read Resolution R20, 2016?
Resolution number R28, 2016. Resolution estimating aggregate maximum amount of public funds to be awarded as deposits. This is the first reading. The current depository agreements expire in August 22. Bidding every 5 years is a statutory requirement. First reading.
Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
Move to suspend.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Swazer with a second by Mr. Twist. Mrs. Knight, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Sneed?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Okay, again, we do have a motion for adoption. Mr. Swazer made the motion, Mr. Twist seconded. Mrs. Knight, would you please read the roll?
Mr. Swazer?
Yes.
Mrs. Oda?
Yes.
Mr. Tremblay?
Yes.
Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Mr. Twist?
Yes.
Mrs. Sneed?
Yes.
Mr. Terwilliger?
Yes.
Mr. Kendall?
Yes.
Resolution is adopted.
Okay, Mrs. Knight, would you please read Ordinance O32, 2016?
Ordinance number O32, 2016, an ordinance declaring the intention to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the purpose of providing for essential funding for parks and recreational purposes for the residents of the city of Troy, Ohio. Sections 5705.03, 5705.05, and 5705.19H of the Ohio Revised Code. This is the second reading.
Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
Mr. President Pro Tem, I'd like to see this go to a third reading, please.
Okay, Mr. Swazer's requested this go to a third reading. Is there any objection?
I don't think so. I just had a question, Mr. Chair. If it goes to third reading, are we still good on a time frame?
We are still good on the time frame, yes.
That's an August 15th time, if I'm not mistaken.
August 10th, 15th,
Yeah,
somewhere in that
yeah, I
area.
think it's
Yes.
August
We're
10th.
fine.
10th is the,
Yes.
so,
Thank you.
okay. All right, seeing no objection, we'll move this to the third reading. Okay, That being all the resolutions and ordinances, Mrs. Knight, are there any correspondence?
There is not.
Okay. Mayor?
A couple of things. Obviously, in addition to the wonderful Troy Strawberry Festival that we had this past weekend that benefits a lot of our clubs and organizations, that's the reason we have it, I have breaking news. I think it's kind of a great news. The Great Miami, Stillwater, and Mad Rivers have just been named a National Water Trail System. That's a national water trail system. And the Great Miami Watershed Trail includes all those rivers, but it was named by the Secretary of Interior, Sally Jewell. And one of her quotes that she made, and I'll just read it, "Our world-class network of national trails provides easy accessible places for others to enjoy exercise and connect with nature in both the urban and rural areas while boosting tourism and supporting economic opportunities in local communities across our country." That was a quote from the U.S. Secretary of Interior. We were already given, I don't know if we're all aware of it, but we were given that statewide distinction as a national trail system, and now it's moved on to a national trail system. It's my understanding we're the only national water trail in Ohio, given that distinction. That's pretty neat stuff. The only other thing that I would add is Saturday, June 4th was National Trail Day, and that might be why they brought that forward, just so I'd share that with you. And then also Thursday is our annual day, Government Day, where we bring the teen leaders of tomorrow. Teen Leadership Troy comes to us. There's 26 participants this year. Wonderful, looking through the roster, great role models will be seniors at our high schools. I think they're all from Troy this year, but they'll join us, and so I certainly welcome all of you to be a part of that and get a chance to introduce you as well. I think Mrs. Baker will be back, and she will do the legislative portion with the team leader group. So that's this Thursday. Thank you. That's it.
Did you want to talk about the 12?
Well, I thought I'd leave that to you, Tom.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
I don't want to say everything.
Okay.
Thank you, though.
All right. Mr. Tittery, do you have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chair. No, I won't say it either. Do have a couple of things just for the audience sake and for viewing audience. A couple of projects that you've no doubt either heard of, read about, or seen that are now underway. It is construction season. The first one is McCaig Road between Madison and just west of Haywood Schools. That section of road has been closed. There are detours posted. The reason I bring that up is that our understanding is that perhaps since it's a new posting, some folks have apparently not gotten that message, and we have had a few that have allegedly gone through the barriers. I've asked the police chief to have patrols out there. You might recall a couple of years ago when we had the project out in front of the Fire Station 2 that we had some concerns there, and for safety of the workers, not the students right now because they're out of school, but for all involved, we are going to enforce that, and so we want to make sure everybody uses the posted detours because that project is going to be ongoing for several months. Our goal, weather permitting, is to have the section of the construction project in front of the school completed by the time school starts up again, so that we can come up with a bus route and drop-off points, but it will be a project that will go towards the end of the year. The second project that has just started today is the lane restrictions on North Market Street across the bridge. That is down to one lane in each direction. Water Street has been closed from Cherry Street to North Walnut. That was at the request of ODOT because they're concerned about someone trying to turn onto Market Street from Water Street in either direction. They are doing redecking, they're doing painting of the understructure, and some paving as well. And so that will be an ongoing project again for approximately 6 months, maybe a little longer than that. And that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a comment on the McCaig Street? I had a couple of residents that live there that one was pulled over by a police officer, and they're still confused on what route they are supposed to take since they live there in the construction zone. Can they call the city engineer and verify that? So they were just still unclear after speaking to the officer.
That's fine. Yes, we asked that they would do that.
Have residents been given stickers or anything? Because I have had some calls too.
I'm not sure if they've gotten stickers, but I think as the project goes on, then people will get more familiar with who's there and who's not. I'm not sure that they do any stickers or
Well, I know
rear view mirror.
we had
cameras.
a kid out in our neighborhood get, when they were doing the North Market, it said closed to all but local traffic. He considers himself local. He went in there and he got ticketed.
There is a definition, I believe, that perhaps is pretty clear in the code.
But for residents out there, how do they?
Well, we have had several educational opportunities. I think that the police department, at least at the beginning, has been warning people and explaining things to them. We have had calls to the office as well, through Jill's office. And through our office, and we've tried to explain as best we can, and we'll continue to work with people. We do just need to make sure that people are where they can go the detour, and even if you're local traffic, if you can go away from the construction site and around rather than trying to get through, it would probably be a lot more convenient for them as well as the work zone.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. City Law Director, Mr. Kerber.
Mr. Kendall, I don't have anything this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. City Auditor, Mr. Frigge.
I also have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I have just a couple comments here. First, to build on what Mayor Beamish said, the water trails and all is a significant thing for the city of Troy. It's not something that in this region, it's not something that's just given out, to everywhere. You have to earn that, and we're lucky that we have an active organization in this area with the Miami Conservancy, who has been able to work with all the rivers and this whole area in bringing everything together. So it's something that our cities along the river can be proud of, that we've been able to accomplish that. Second of all, this coming Sunday at 3 o'clock at Treasure Island, there will be the dedication of the lighthouse that was provided to the city by the Troy Foundation. It will be from 3 to 5, with 3 o'clock promptly the dedication starting. And then there will be some entertainment from the Troy Community Band and also Rum River Blend. Plus, you'll have the opportunity to tour the area, and there'll be people who can talk about the different aspects of Treasure Island and what's been happening down there. We've had a lot of people that's been driving, walking down there to see what's going on, and I think if you haven't, you'll be pleasantly surprised with the improvements that have been made. So, anybody from council, any comments?
In regards to Treasure Island, I had heard also that people were going down into the park, and somebody got stopped by the police for going down in there. Is that
yeah, it's been closed for quite a while. Now we're more sensitive as we get almost finished. They were putting the final coat of asphalt in some places. We do have new seedling that is hopefully germinating. And so it's a lot, we're being a lot more diligent about making sure that people stay away.
So no driving down in there,
Correct.
walking?
I think it's okay for them to walk as long as they stay on the paths or the pavement. The pavement is pretty much done, but don't wander off of that.
Well, it's okay from the perspective, too, that Mr. Jackson has begun the hiring out of the kayaks and canoes and all, so on weekends.
I don't know, he's gearing up to that. I don't think he's officially opened yet.
He hasn't started yet?
I think he's
Okay,
starting
I thought
the
he
week,
was starting
starting next
Memorial Day.
weekend.
Okay.
No, we asked that he not do that with all the other cross construction
Okay.
going on.
All right.
But he will be.
He's supposed
my
to be there
understanding-
Sunday.
Yes.
So no
absolutely.
boating into the park either?
Not supposed to. That's correct.
Couldn't resist that.
The launch is not open yet.
Any other?
There's a movie downtown tomorrow night out on the plaza. Star Wars, if you're a Star Wars fan.
I think that's next week.
Next week, forget I said that.
Well, it's between
A
council
week from
meetings.
tomorrow.
There you go.
It's a week from tomorrow.
It's still between council meetings, so yeah. you can announce it.
Thank you.
Anyway,
so many things.
any
I know.
city employees, any comments? Anyone from the audience?
Lester Connor, 1210 South Clay Street, Troy, Ohio. I've been told 3 different things, and I thought I would bring it up here. That way then it'd give you an opportunity to tell me whether what I was told was correct or inaccurate. But one, that EPA is checking the soil and stuff out at the Treasure Island for pollution. 2, that Miami Conservatory is kind of upset with Troy because of what they're doing out there, and Conservatory's filling something back in again. And 3rd, about we laid 3 people off, eliminated 3 jobs out for the city on maintenance of vehicles, and Troy Ford got it. Now Troy Ford doesn't do the work, but it sends it out to 3 different other places, and then when they get the bill, then they put an extra 5% on top of that for their fee for just doing nothing.
Okay.
Okay. I scribbled furiously. I hope I caught all 3 of those, Mr.
Okay.
Conner.
If not, I'll correct it.
Okay, the EPA and Treasure Island, the EPA is part of their ongoing Superfund investigation, the plume issue. They are in that area doing more test wells. It has nothing to do with Treasure Island per se. This is not a new test. This is not anything new. This is just continual work that they've been doing related to the plume. So that's that one.
Okay.
All right. MCD, I'm not aware of any issues with the MCD. As a matter of fact, we've had very close communications with them on all aspects of all the projects that we've had along the riverfront. They've been very accommodating. We've submitted all the permits and gotten all the approvals that we need. I'm not aware of any issues whatsoever. I know they did some of their own maintenance work not too long ago, where I believe they shored up a drive, an access drive that is along the south of Treasure Island. But beyond that, there's been no issues with Miami Conservancy District. Number 3, since I've been here, and I believe never has the city laid anybody off, any employees off. As employees retired in the maintenance department of the street department, Public Works, is when we outsourced maintenance of our vehicles and equipment. That was done 6 or 7 years ago. No employees were laid off. Those were all vacant positions. The Troy Ford arrangement that you're talking about, Troy Ford bid along with 2 or 3 other companies to manage our fleet maintenance program. We're actually in the second contract. Council, I believe it was last year, authorized rebidding, and so we did sealed bids, and they quoted prices more competitive than the other vendors, and so Troy Ford, who had the previous contract, continues to manage our fleet maintenance. Troy Ford does some of the work where it's economical for them to do it, or they farm out other work at our request. I'm not sure exactly what the percentage fee is. It is what they bid and it's what they quoted. But they maintain the database, they manage all of the activity, and they do all of the final billing on our behalf, and it's a lot more seamless and has saved us probably over the life of the agreement, probably close to $1 million, I'd say, by now, over a multiple-year period of time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right, well, we thank you all for coming, and we consider this meeting adjourned. Thank you.